Hello everyone and welcome back to G-senjou no Maou. Let's continue. The temperature dropped sharply as the sun sank into the west. Even blending into the crowds along Central Boulevard couldn't ease the bitter cold. High school students were going home being targeted by late-night shows cameras for interviews. The entire scene had already made its way into the realm of the routine. They'd all become ecstatic once they faced the microphone. If Kyosuke demanded it, Tsubaki could act exactly like those girls in front of the camera, full of passion. A store window in the streets caught her attention as she wandered. Behind it was a plastic mannequin in a tempting pose and a famous brand-name dress. She mumbled. She looked into herself, vainly trying to confirm if those were her true feelings. No answer came. It only caused restlessness in her heart. Between Tsubaki and the mannequin, her reflection in the glass bore such a frightening visage that she couldn't recognize herself. As the cold tortured her body, Tsubaki headed to the subway station. After Tsubaki left, I suddenly spotted an object she had left behind. A familiar notebook. That precious record Tsubaki had once held close to her. How could she forget to take something she valued so much? People who write in a diary might be able to contain their emotions through it, but I haven't seen her writing anything at all lately. Even so, I doubt it's something she's willing to part with just yet. I called Tsubaki. Yet all I heard was the mechanical voice of an unavailable recipient. Is she on a train? Maybe she turned it off. Tsubaki might really do that. Well, I'm headed to Central Boulevard anyway, so I'll drop it off while I'm out. I put on a coat and left the house. Waiting for me outside was a breeze cold enough to snap me back to reality. She might have caught a cold. She felt dull and sweat beaded on her forehead. Her body temperature was unstable. Her feverish sensation was soon replaced by chills. Tsubaki walked through the park with empty footsteps. As if her legs were plated with lead, she kept on moving forward, rushing toward home. Why am I panicking? She slowed her steps as she wandered. Tsubaki must feel guilty for skipping class. No, maybe it's because she was on a bit of a high after being accepted by Kyosuke. Carrying all kinds of uneasiness, her steps grew heavier. For example, what about the exchange student, Usami Haru? Tsubaki treated her as a friend without ever thinking twice. Before she knew it, she'd already started to hate Haru. After listening to Kyosuke's story, she understood what a scary thing debt can be. Thankfully, Kyosuke had provided her with a house to move to, but beyond that, the only thing awaiting their arrival was a life of poverty. Couldn't her father think up a better solution? Tsubaki lost her breath. Why is it always me who has to do the worrying? Then the true source of Tsubaki's anxiety appeared. Tsubaki's brother dashed toward her. He waited for her like it was the most natural thing in the world. His innocent smile showed no fear of the bitter cold. Her body felt a different sort of chill. The reflection she had seen in the shop window just earlier couldn't possibly smile like her brother anymore. Sadness, rage overcame her. Tsubaki had already completely forgotten the fact that she, herself, broke the promise and stared solemnly at Hiroaki. The accumulated despair dropped deep into Tsubaki's heart. The sound it created as it landed rebounded off of the darkness it found there and escaped through Tsubaki's mouth in the form of words. These were all delivered straight to Hiroaki's ears. The downtown crowd is as annoying as always. I'm taking the subway to the Eastern District. I doze off thinking about Tsubaki. I have witnessed her personality change firsthand. Like ink dripping onto a clean sheet of paper, she's slowly losing her original form. Just as they say, as difficult as creation is, destruction is easy. The innocent Tsubaki had been raised with since she was young vanished without a trace right after her introduction to money, which means it was no stronger than that to begin with. Tsubaki's kindness was only a fragile, insignificant thing. One could say that fragility was because she hadn't built up a strong enough buffer against philosophical insult. True enough, I've been inducing Tsubaki, and she's experienced a number of misfortunes that left her vulnerable. There was that kidnapping, and as a result of it, they've been forced into major debt and have been chased from their home. Still, I thought, is it really acceptable for humans to be that weak? No matter the circumstances, the core of the problem lies with the one being exploited. Everyone knows that's where the responsibility lies, but saying so before the masses would lead to criticism, so people choose to stay silent. My hands might be filthy, but I'm correct. I steeled my resolve again and delivered my body over to exhaustion. Tsubaki couldn't take it anymore. The snowflakes falling to the ground froze her reason.
これで何回目だと思ってるの？一人で出歩いちゃダメだって教えるのは。
Although she inquired in a cold tone, her brother was ignorant to the changes in Tsubaki.
それより聞いてよ。マサトくんがね、マサトくんってお友達がね、犬飼ってもらったんだって。マフマフしてるの、僕も欲しい。買って。
The veins in her temple throbbed.
ねえ、買って。チワワっていうの。買って。いくらすると思ってるの？知らない。高いの？コンビニのアイス全種類買うより高い？当たり前でしょ？
Is he so spoiled that he doesn't even know a thing like that?
でもお姉ちゃんずっと前僕にゲーム機買ってくれたよ。すっごい高いってみんな言ってた。羨ましいって言われたよ。
That me doesn't exist anymore.
お金ないの？嘘だ。お姉ちゃんの貯金箱見たよ。お札がいっぱいだったよ。人の財布を勝手に見たらダメでしょ？だって僕いつもそのお金でおやつ買ってるよ。本当はいけないことなの。
She always thought he was too adorable to deny and let him get whatever he wanted. That was a huge mistake. From this point on, Tsubaki's family won't have enough savings. She can't ask for an allowance from her parents, and she can't waste her money on her siblings anymore. The sweat dripping from her skin was assaulted by the snowy wind, bringing on a sudden chill.
お姉ちゃん、缶蹴りしよう。やだ、寒いし。
Tsubaki's hands shivered slightly. Surely the cold wasn't the reason. It was a subconscious attempt at suppressing a dark impulse. If she gave into that impulse, there'd be no turning back.
ねえ、やろうよ。嫌だって。もしやってくれたら僕何でも言うこと聞くよ。だから、ほら。
He reached out and placed the can directly in front of Tsubaki. Tsubaki's darkness flowed into the container drop by drop. It was about to overflow from within.
何でも。なら、わかるよね。何回も同じこと言ってるもんね。
She planned to put a stopper in her heart. To close the doors Maou had opened, Tsubaki asked her brother.
わかるよね。ひろあき。何かな、教えて。僕お姉ちゃん好きだよ。お姉ちゃんの言いつけ破んないよ、絶対。だから遊ぼう。そして終わったら子犬買いに行こう。
Now, for some reason, Maou and Kyosuke's voices overlapped in Tsubaki's heart. This child is hopeless. Together with her words, the dark droplets flowed out of the can before her. A torrent burst forth. Hiroaki! Her impulse spiked dramatically. Her raging palm screamed for violence, soaring through the wind. The can placed in front of her shot to the sky with a clear sound. She was desperate. Then, like waves lapping upon the shore, her palm firmly collided with her brother's face. Pain. Her palm was moaning in pain. Hiroaki's chubby cheek reddened. She had always kissed him there, saying how cute he was. Yet this time she had hit him. She had finally hit him. There would be no turning back. The Tsubaki of the past turned to ash as the sound of her sin echoed in the cold air. The serious, straight-laced Tsubaki crumbled completely. It was a blow for disciplinary purposes. She immediately formulated an excuse. Because they were family, such actions would be forgiven. Someone might even praise her for it. Still, to Tsubaki, this was a tragedy akin to jumping from a skyscraper.
Hiroaki.
Tsubaki, frightened, addressed her young brother. Hiroaki knelt on the floor, completely silent, like a marionette with severed strings.
お姉ちゃん、
The shock he suffered must be immeasurable. Even the person who hit him nearly collapsed in regret. To be treated violently by the sister he had always trusted would be entirely unfathomable. Hiroaki raised his head, obviously confused. Tsubaki's heart itself shook the air out of her lungs. She could only hear that as him blaming her. Why did you hit me? The next moment her brother's foolish smile met Tsubaki's eyes. I don't understand. Hiroaki didn't cry, but hugged Tsubaki's legs happily. Her brother's stainless smile disgusted her. Seeing that familiar smile nauseated her. Tsubaki lit a dark, raging fire of melancholy. Once again letting her instincts guide her body, she struck her brother once more. She crashed into his small chest, sinking her fist into his face. She used all her strength to force him onto the ground. She brought out all the brutality of a lifetime. But he's laughing. Apparently Tsubaki is really weak. But even when Hiroaki was covered in dirt, he still stood up with a smile, rubbing his knees. Why won't you cry? What is it that makes you so happy? Why is there no suspicion, no hatred, no tears? Isn't it obvious that you are being beaten up? This is no game. I've already gone berserk, battering an insolent child. I hate you. Innocent, naive, free of suspicion, you make me so mad. He drew the sentence out with a sweet voice. His stretched cheeks were red and inflamed. He looked up at her with an innocent, inquisitive look. Tsubaki's malicious cries wouldn't reach him no matter what. Is this kid that dumb? How can he not understand? Why, no matter how hard I hit him, does he still think it's a game? Something welled up from Tsubaki's heart. Tsubaki's naive brother concluded that his sister was cold. Hiroaki made an honest, caring attempt from deep within his heart. He looked at Tsubaki, and within those eyes Tsubaki reached her limit. She finally understood. During her brother's growth, only people who loved him passed through his eyes. He believes unconditionally that the sister who had poured nothing but endless unconditional love onto him would never hurt him. Indeed, it was like a mirror.
Hiroaki!
Snowflakes danced in the air like cherry blossoms. They fell softly onto Tsubaki's heart, cooling the flames. That was a surprising scene. I witnessed the conversation between Tsubaki and her brother from the sidelines. Tsubaki must feel tortured by his impeccable trust. Tsubaki weakly shook her head. I told Tsubaki this once before. Let your emotions guide your body, let everything in your heart flow out. And this was the result. No matter how spoiled he is, Tsubaki's brother was still Tsubaki's brother. Tsubaki's whole family was so innocent and naive, you would wonder if they were faking it. Their tears fell together like a reflection in a mirror. A sudden ache erupted in my chest. I finally understood what I had seen in Tsubaki all along. It's not that she disgusts me, it's that she has what I've always yearned for. I was deeply jealous of her innocence. Thus I wanted to destroy it. Damn. We should have never crossed paths. Tsubaki built such a wonderful thing with the strength of her heart, a thing I'll never have. She built a steady home no wind could ever shake.
そう？うん。だってお姉ちゃんと一緒にいたいもん。お姉ちゃんがお外連れてってくれるもん。お姉ちゃんが僕の頼みを聞いてくれなかったことないもん。
A smile slowly emerged on Tsubaki's
あ
face.
りがとう。なんだかとっても楽になったよ。私はこれでいいんだね、ひろあき。誰も疑わないし、お金にも興味ないし、恋愛にも消極的。それでも私にはたくさんの家族がいるもんね。お父さんが買ってくれたダサいコート着るし、みんなが繁華街で遊んでる時に私は公園でひろあきと関係にするの。それでいいんだよね。ね、ひろあき。
The snowfall grew heavier. I forgot the work I came to do as I stood there, watching. I couldn't suppress my feelings. If I let these people influence me any further, I'll never be myself again. Nevertheless, I can't deny that I want to take that final step. How is the Miwa family going to face poverty after the move? Can they continue to make fond memories in the face of a true problem? Money? After thinking about their uncertain future, my feelings became muddled. I hope I'm not developing feelings for Tsubaki above the necessary level. Should I go deeper? Invest in Tsubaki or ditch her while I can? And I'll choose invest in Tsubaki. Is that okay? I ask myself this question once more. If I choose Tsubaki here, I feel like there'll be no turning back. I have ambitions of my own. Not to mention I'm also curious about Usami and her relation to the fierce criminal calling himself Maou. Even so, will I help Tsubaki? Devote myself to Tsubaki or avoid her? Until I choose devote myself to Tsubaki. Yeah. I shouldn't have any more hesitation. I don't know when it first began, but as I stand here, I find myself attracted to Tsubaki. Tsubaki. Her face, puffy from crying, slowly turned my way. I held out her diary and averted my eyes. You forgot this. Tsubaki sniffed, then smiled. It was a pure smile. Bye. She stopped me. If I let her stop me here, I will become irrevocably drawn to her. No thanks. Hiroaki's expression was exactly the same as his sister's. I'm a bit busy. Do you have time later tonight? There are some things I want to talk to you about. It's about our relationship. It's decided then. I'll call you later. The moment I turned, I slipped fantastically onto the snow-slick ground. Wah! A bright, cheerful sound immediately filled the surrounding air. Tsubaki's eyes widened. What? Tcheh. Looks like I'm out of it tonight. Oh sure, next time. I only said that casually, but he took it for a promise. As did his sister, I guess. Don't tell me I really have to go through with this boring little game now. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's nothing. I suddenly realized that I just couldn't keep my eyes off her face. I'm heading home. I quietly bid her farewell for real this time. That bright, clear voice still lingered in my ear. I find myself flustered. I want to just lie down and clutch my head. For crying out loud, the girl doesn't even have a penny to her name. I tried to work, but my foggy mind could not escape its many torturous, invasive thoughts of Tsubaki. Tsubaki's chapter Mirror. I guess you're on Tsubaki's route now. But we'll start Tsubaki's route next time on G-senjou no Maou. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. Bye bye.